My name's Gareth Philpott. I'm from the Barber Academy Australia, and today we're going to go through solid form / one length. So what would you use this haircut for? You've got the option of bobs, blunt fringes, box cuts, density retention. Basically a lot of real life scenarios where this is required. Solid form is a solid base around the hair, if you can think about that. Now, the reason why I don't like the term one length is because technically it's not all one length. Strands of hair are going to come from different aspects of the head. So if they were all one length, the true one length would basically be a two guard all over. So I don't like using the term one length. That's why I prefer to use solid form. But basically what we are doing is cutting a straight line. So we're cutting a straight line on the hair. So if you had somebody come in with longer hair and they just wanted a trim around the perimeter, this is exactly what we would use it for, okay? So all I'm going to show you is a couple of sectioning patterns first, and then how we actually cut a solid form. So the biggest aspect about what solid form is, or cutting a blunt line, is that there is zero elevation. There is also where the hair falls naturally. So you'll see when I'm cutting, I don't have a lot of tension on the hair because we want that to be natural fall. So when you hear the term natural form, that's what it means. It's where the hair naturally forms and we cut it to that line. Now there's a couple of key aspects which I think people can get confused with. These are uneven tension. Sometimes we grip the hair too much with our fingers. Can we do that consistently around the head? No. So that is one of the biggest issues. Drifting off the guideline. So making sure that when you're setting your guideline, that you are continuing that guideline around the head. A solid form is the same length throughout the exterior of the hair. So from the front to the back to the sides, that should all sit level all of the way around the head. Another key aspect I think about this haircut is over sectioning. I think this is a big issue in our industry in general. I'm going to show you a couple of quick steps as to how we can do this a lot simpler. So our first one is our sectioning, okay? So I have just sectioned one side of the head. So I've combed all of the hair back and then I've created a middle part with my comb. Now the reason why I comb all of the hair back, it makes it easier for me to then section from the hair. I've sprayed it down a little bit. Now you could do a hair wash if you wanted to, whatever you require. But I've sprayed down the hair a little bit, come back, and then I've created a center part in, which has then created these sections. Now you'll see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. Now I've gone for 5 sections because of how long this hair actually is. Now, if the hair was up to, say, the neckline here, I would not have done that many sections. This section in the back, I would have just sectioned the top and then left this to just cut that one section. This is the biggest thing when it comes to sectioning with longer hair. I believe to keep a lot of the hair out of the way, you do need to be consistent with your sectioning, but over-sectioning is definitely a massive issue in our industry. Now, where have I done the sectioning, you may ask? That is the apex of the head, and I've drawn a line right down the sides. Now, mannequins are different to humans, so we need to be very careful about where we're sectioning. You can then see from the front that I have a section from the hairline. So I've got my top, I've got my side, I've got my back, and then I've got my nape as well. Those are my key sectioning patterns when it comes to cutting longer hair, and especially cutting a blunt line in your hair. Okay, so we're gonna do our first cut, which is gonna be our guideline. Now, on the back of the head, you'll see that I've got my section pattern. Obviously, you will section this side of the head as well, but I just wanted to show you that one part, okay? What we're going to do is create our guideline first. Now, the easiest way to create our guideline is the width of the comb. Now, with the width of the comb on the head, that makes it so much easier. You can clip the remainder of the hair out of the way if you like. That is no problem at all. Now, what you want to do is make sure that there is a consistent amount of water on the head. So I'm going to always have my spray bottle on the side. And every time I cut, I want the hair to be that same consistency when I'm cutting it. So you can see that is elevation. That is also elevation. So there's two key things here which we need to do. I need to bring my comb down with the hair, but I also need my fingers to match the comb. So we are cutting there and there. Now, this needs to be 0 degrees. It has to be. If it's any degree upright, we're going to cause graduation, which is not what we need when we are cutting a base on the hair. So I'm going to come through. You'll see as well, I've kept the hair as close to the head as possible. I'm not lifting it out. It's got to be close because, again, lifting it out is going to cause elevation, which is going to create layers, and I do not want to do that. So you'll see I can comb it out at this level, but then I'm bringing it in. My fingers are matching the comb. You can see I've got that little bit of freedom in there because it's natural fall. I don't want to be pulling at the hair. It has to be natural. My fingers and comb are the same. I'm going to pop my comb in my thumb, and then I'm going to cut with my scissors. And that is your guideline done. Now what you are going to do is bring the remainder of the hair there. I've got my guide to this side of it. I'm making sure everything is right. And I cut. The biggest thing that I can say for you in regards to posture, you want to be in line with where you are cutting. With solid form, we follow the head when we are cutting. So if I'm cutting the side, I need to be on the side of the head. If I'm cutting the back, I need to be on the back of the head. If I'm cutting this side, I need to be on the side of the head. So a key thing, grab a stool. If you're cutting with hair this long, that is no problem at all. Now, there is one more technique that you can use for cutting a blunt line. Now, what that is, the comb in the hair, comb everything down so it's as natural fall as possible. My comb is at the right degrees, and then all you're going to do is just cut to the comb. Again, I try and make sure that I'm still doing the same size sections. You don't want to try and cut that all in one, even though your scissors can. I just like to cut it purely where I'm comfortable and it's sitting nicely and I come across. Okay, once you've done that first initial panel, you will then drop your next section. Now just combing that down, you will see that the guide that you first cut is now behind, obviously, that next section. So you would just cut that section to that guide. Then continuing on the back of the head, you would drop your next section. That would come down, come down. Then if there was anything to cut, we would cut that as well. If there is nothing to cut, do not cut it. Do not cut that at all, okay? Now, when we go on to the sides, you may be asking, where's my guide? Your guide is going to be from the back. So when we swing around, you'll see that the length is going to be here. So when I drop this first guide down, I'm going to cut it to that length. Now, the biggest issue which we find when we're cutting the sides is the ears. So on a human, obviously, you can imagine hair is hanging over my ears. Now we need to make sure that we tap the hair above the ears. That will give it as natural fall as possible for us to cut. Because you can imagine if I'm pulling down over my ears and cut it, it's going to spring back up, and then that is going to be shorter than anywhere else on the head.